and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the South Park Center, and we're delighted to be joined with Dawn, who's come all the way from Portland, Oregon to be with us with her fantastic feature film, Mother of Color. Let's take a look at the clip.
Could you come in tomorrow?
It's kind of short notice. I get to interview for a job I really, really want. Come on, hurry.
There's so much suffering in the world. Centuries of trauma causing trauma in the body. If you only give yourself the time and space, you can actually see what's happening.
Recuerda, mira las señales. Los ancestros te están hablando.
Every time I feel like I'm going to finally succeed, I get pulled back down.
Now, where's the time?
By healing ourselves, we get to heal the future.
Dawn, I'm just so thankful you made this extraordinary film. Thank you for bringing it to New Filmmakers LA.
Thank you for having us. This whole thing, I've been so impressed with the festival. It's what you're doing, it's so much more than just this one night. It's amazing.
Oh, and I love that we had the same wardrobe today.
Yes, I got the memo. Yeah. I'm ready.
Really, really good. This Mother of Color will just sit in my heart for the rest of time. I'm just so impressed with what you did and how you created this film. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
Yes. So Mother of Color is the story of a single mother of two, daughter of an immigrant, who dreams of running for office. And at the same time that she finds out she has a chance to interview for a job at a local commissioner's office, she begins getting these messages from her ancestors. And so over the course of the story, she has to kind of untangle what it is they're trying to tell her and make it to the job interview in time.
I mean, it's so touching, it's so moving, it's so real, it's educational, it's serious, it's loving. There's just so many contexts in this film that I absolutely adore. And to hear about where the inspiration came from and how you brought this feature together is unbelievable. Tell us a little bit about where this was inspired from and how you decided to make this story into a film.
Yes, so the star of the film, Ana Del Rocio, who lives in Portland, Oregon, where I am, yes, incredible performance that she delivers over the course of the film. She is a real-life single mother of two who works in politics. And we had worked together on a short film and wanted to try to work together again, and so I began interviewing her and pitched her the idea of making something that was inspired by her. Not exactly her life, but definitely takes inspiration from her. And the cool thing is that right now she's actually running for county commissioner in Portland, Oregon. So it's I think of it as almost like an epilogue for the film.
Yeah, I mean that's incredible. Like this is not
Yes.
It's not normal. You obviously have someone that's so closely related. It's also her feature debut as well.
Yes,
I understand.
yes, she'd only been
and
short. Yeah.
what a great. I mean, she carried the film so incredibly, and then also that's part of who she is. She's running for office. Like how incredible.
I mean, it's kind of like what the film is about. I think of it as an origin story for
Yeah.
someone like her who is destined to be a leader, but is constantly running into these limitations put on her by society as a single
Yeah.
woman of color. And she has to get in office because we want the people that might be falling through the cracks to be there to make those changes so that people aren't falling through the cracks, but it's so hard to get there. And so I support her campaign.
Yeah, of course.
But I also, maybe will inspire others with the film as well.
Absolutely, and there's so many, breakthroughs that have to happen, up in Portland and around this country as well. I mean, this has so many contexts to what your film, represents, from single parenthood to, women of color, and also just to the kind of white supremacy that kind of exists in and around, these people that are fighting. Of course, all these things come into context. What did you kind of want to take from this film and showcase to the rest of the world as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the major themes of the film is that the American dream is a fallacy. It's dead. And so how can we dream together to figure out a new way forward? And in the course of the film, it's only when the character connects with her identity and her ancestors that she might begin to understand a path forward. And I think that's true for all of us, no matter what side of the equation you're on. Mm-hmm.
And I love that you had the element of ancestry, because I think it's such an important thing, because it was just such a great reminder, and there's so many great moments of just a reminder of where you've come from to where you are today, and also looking to your loved ones and your elders. Like, it was so beautiful in context. Did you kind of know you were going to go and showcase that from the very beginning? How did that kind of work out for you?
I did. I actually had a totally different scene that was kind of at the heart of the film that I don't necessarily want to give away, but there's a big scene that happens at the climax. It's the scene that's like the tearjerker, but it's I think of it as a kind of catharsis. Originally something else was there, and we actually went back and shot that scene afterward to just kind of infuse the film with something like I'd never seen, which in some ways is a representation of the passing of ancestral trauma and ancestral healing.
Yeah, I think there's so many elements in your film that I think so many people can relate to. One of the things that I certainly just appreciate was just what a single mom goes through. I've come from a single mom, and I watched her work so hard with 3 jobs, and just everything was so tough. I think I was probably a naughty kid. I don't know, it's fine. But like you just captured that so wonderfully well, of just the little nuances that make life tough, and you were rooting for it from the very beginning. How is it directing? You know, how is that directing for you? There were so many beautiful moments that you captured in that film. What was your kind of process in working with your cast?
Well, I mean, Anna as the stars, who is in almost every single frame of the film, and obviously she herself brings a certain amount of authenticity to the role as a single mom. And I don't want to make it sound like I pulled that performance out of her. Like she brought that, and she worked really hard. She had never worked on a feature film like this or any feature film, but I think she had to learn about what that meant. It's a much bigger thing than just showing up to filming. It's all the lines you have to memorize, all the time spent with wardrobe and the production designer interviewing her to see what's in your house right now that we might want to bring in on set to bring that authenticity. I was there to support her and talk about the meaning of the scenes and help her connect with her real life experiences so that could translate. And, obviously not every person that has a lived experience can still deliver that performance. So she just has that talent and ability, and I'm just glad to lift it and have other people see what she can do.
Well, I loved, there was just a lot of moments in the film that I just loved that you kind of didn't pan away, didn't cut to, you just left us there, just either experiencing her thoughts or what she was going through with her children. I just loved that. Well, I mean, in terms of how you wanted to kind of capture the film, was there certain styles or certain elements and how you wanted to do it? And you also had loads of locations. I was amazed as well. I was how are you doing all this? Tell us a little about that dynamic as well.
Well, if you see what we can do with an indie budget, imagine what we could do with a proper one. So people say your first film, you should people sitting in a room and make it for $50,000 or something. We definitely spent more than that, but we had a lot of locations, a lot of actors. Visual effects, there was a lot going on. And so it's been a labor of love for a lot of people over years now to get this out in the world. But so we started off thinking, I talked with our cinematographer, Sean Conley, about something that was kind of grittier and more rooted in realism. But as we began to talk more about how the ancestors would communicate with her and what visuals that would bring, it just felt more appropriate to kind of, I think of it as reality enhanced. So people do look good, and they look their best in some scenes with the lighting and the time that we took to bring that, but it also still feels relatable. Yeah,
well, it was strange because the experience watching your film, I felt like I was almost in it. It was really crazy. It was almost felt so real. It was documentary as well. Even the dream sequences, I was wow, is that it was very personal. I felt like we were really in her journey. And is that kind of something you want us to kind of capture?
Absolutely. I mean, and some of that is the fact that she is in every single scene. We're not cutting away to see what other people are saying or thinking about her. She's really guiding us through her life, and it's taking place over a short period of time. So it's almost real time in some moments, and I think that adds to the tension of will she or won't she make it to the job interview?
Yeah, and just want to spend. You had a great ensemble cast, from her wonderful children who are absolutely brilliant and just wonderful just to watch their interactions together, to obviously the character which I want to talk about of obviously who gave her the actual job and that story, and then the best Uber driver ever. So tell us about how you put the rest of the cast together.
Okay. So first of all, the 2 kids, Casey Tinoco and Julian Hernandez. We are so lucky that we found them. We did casting calls. That was the biggest hunt to find these kids that would do the role justice, and we absolutely did. Casey Tinoco just makes me cry every time I see his scenes. And Julian is just has so much heart and just trying to communicate how are we gonna get these performances, like they just did it. They just did it. It was amazing. We also got Lucelina Mendoza of La Bamba plays like a key role in the
So
scene.
cool.
A lot of folks are excited to see them on screen.
Yeah.
Just they know them more from the indie world. And
Yeah.
then we have actual real life Portland City Commissioner Joanne Hardesty plays the commissioner in the film. And so for Portlanders to like see her up there talking about how long it took to have a Black woman elected to city council, like it just adds this extra weight and level of authenticity to the film. And that was something also that kind of happened through happenstance, because we had someone else in the role and then like scheduling, and then we were like, let's ask her, and she said yes. And so she's been a part in coming to screenings in Portland, which is fantastic. And then there was somebody else that I wanted to, we had like various local theater actors who,
you do? Excellent.
yeah, Michael Mendelsohn, Barbie Wu was our casting director, who just knew so many people that we could just kind of like, think and talk through and see who might want to come out and play with us.
Yeah.
There's just like so much Portland in there. And also, here in LA, it may not resonate the same, but for Portland, I think of it as like a prescriptive cast rather than a descriptive one, because it is mostly a white town. And but you'll see in our film, like that's not what we're showing. We're showing a wide variety of folks that are being represented in different types of positions of power. And the Uber driver is actually my cousin who came from Colorado.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
Keep it in the family.
She's a theater actor in Colorado, and everyone loves her and loves that scene. It kind of comes in at just the right moment when you need a break, and she delivers.
Yeah, I want those glasses. They would work for me too. I mean, making this film such an important film. There's so many incredible reasons to why this film is just an important one as well. A reminder, just whether it be just education, whether it be reflection, whether somebody identifies saying, oh, that's someone that looks like me, I can do this too. All those elements. Like, what did you want your audience to take from your film?
I think, for me, it's really about this heart of the film where I think there's this feeling of catharsis, this idea that the world does feel very hard right now. It does feel like a mess. But if we can connect with our own inner selves, if we can connect with each other, I think it can offer us a way out or a way forward. And I've really enjoyed being with audiences. I've been traveling with the film now to various festivals. And when that moment comes, it's just, you can feel this release in the audience. And it makes me cry just talking about, like, it's the thing that makes it all worth it. And it's the thing that I wanted to happen. And it absolutely does. So I'm just, I'm excited to be here and to continue on with the film.
Yeah, I mean, just again, thank you for making such a, important film on so many different levels. Like, this film should be seen all over this country and around the world. And I'm just so proud that you just, were rooting for so many different causes in this film, and let's keep those changes going on, For you as a filmmaker, like, what inspires you? Like, what things inspire you? What films do you kind of want to keep making?
Well, I do. I'm actually making 2 comedies, or what I have lined up next. I mean, what I love about our film is that it wasn't a straightforward social drama. We do have these, eerie vibes to it that kind of add a thrill and something more for the audience to grab onto. But I also found myself wanting to laugh more and to also take inspiration from the film. So one of the scripts that I'm working on with my friend Annie Chung-Seung-Sum is, we're calling it 9 to 5 meets the film industry. And it's the idea, again, taking inspiration from the making of Mother of Color and how we're kind of like bucking the system. And so it's about a producer who is kind of out of touch with her identity and is considered to be a token. The film is called The Token. And it's how she kind of is able to perhaps secretly take over a production when the boss is out of town, and how she decides to do things totally differently, and all the problems that that brings forward. And
I'm ready for that. Yeah.
Yes,
that's great.
It's a lot of fun. This is a film that I am definitely seeking financing for, and
did you hear that?
Script development,
Yep.
and we're starting to submit to labs now. So I'm excited about that as a potential next project. Yeah.
Amazing. And just finally, for anyone that being a filmmaker, making a feature film, like being an artist, creative person as you are, like, is there anything that you kind of go by, any advice you can share for anybody out there at seeing, I want to do what Dawn's doing one day? Like, is there any advice that you kind of go by?
I mean, in some ways, one of the messages in the film is also the thing that I've struggled with, which is to, block out all the other stuff.
And
and be able to connect with yourself, to listen to your own voice above all other voices. The thing that I often tell up-and-comers, because I know how I struggled when I first started, especially as a queer woman of color, is that if you want your story told, you might have to tell it yourself. You might have to, write that script, or learn how to use the camera, or do those things that will move things forward. You can't just sit around waiting for someone else to do it, because it may not happen.
Thank you for your TED Talk. No, seriously, thank you so much thank you for being a filmmaker. Thank you for being part of the New Filmmakers LA family. And thank you for bringing Mother of Color to us. And I'm ready for all the projects that you make, Dawn. So we really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. Really, really, really. This is something special here, and I'm thrilled to be part of the NFMLA family now.